Hello again. Today I'd like to talk with you about something that's really an important subject that will potentially really help you understand how to be a more effective investor. People who have less experience with investing often talk about the market as though it's a big block that moves up and down, and somehow or another, if you know what time it is, whether it's going to move up or whether it's going to move down, that's going to give you success or failure. And I think that's a perspective that lacks nuance, and nuance is really where the rubber meets the road when it comes to effectiveness as an investor. Let me explain. When we look at markets, we're talking about literally tens of thousands of different securities. They may be equity securities where we have ownership of a share of a company, or they might be debt securities where we have bonds where people owe us money, we've given them some money and they're paying us an interest rate. And in the scope of the market, given the fact that there are so many different possible choices, we could potentially build a portfolio that has pieces that will tend to counterbalance each other no matter which direction the market moves. And so balance is a very important topic. When we think about the market, we do not want to think about it in a binary fashion when we say the market is going up, therefore I should be in the market, or the market is going down, therefore I should be out of the market. Because in reality, there are so many different moving parts that if you have a good eye and you're looking at what's really taking place, you can choose effectively in a way that will allow you to counterbalance risks and counterbalance mistakes that you might be prone to make. And believe me, if you're an investor, you have to be prepared to make some mistakes, and your portfolio has to be designed so that the mistakes will be mitigated by your successes. Let's talk about the Standard & Poor's 500 for a moment, and this will help illustrate my point. The S&P 500 has 11 sectors. Those sectors include utilities, energy, communications, healthcare, real estate, and so on. There are a variety of different parts that make up the S&P 500. And at this moment, with the coronavirus incident that we're experiencing, certainly consumer defensive as a sector of the S&P 500 is doing well. So companies that make things that people have to buy are rising in value. Meanwhile, consumer discretionary, which is things like buying another car, something of that nature, I'm sure that part of the market is not doing well. And if a person is looking at the different sectors and chooses carefully among the sectors, they can balance the portfolio against some of the potential risks that exist in the economy at any given moment. And that leads me to another thought that's very important. The trend. The trend never lies. When we see a sector of the economy rising, it tends to rise until a major event takes place that will change its direction. And that's something we can watch and we can be sensitive to. Now, there are forecasting methods that help our firm make a determination about when it's likely to have a change in the trend. We forecasted the 2020 recession, we forecasted the 2008 recession, and we forecasted the 2000 recession in very specific terms and told our clients what to expect long in advance because we had a forecasting tool that helped us understand when the trend would be likely to change. We're in the middle of a change in trend right now, and that change in trend is something that could have been seen in advance. So the point I'm trying to make is that the trend never lies. If you follow the trend, you will be rewarded. And if you're not following the trend, you will be punished, unfortunately. And that's kind of like the heaven and hell experience. When a person is in the trend, they're likely to live in a gated community with streets paved with gold, pearly gates and streets paved with gold, sort of the heavenly idea. And if they're not in the trend, they're going to find themselves shoveling coal. And that's not something you want. So my point here is that there are nuances to investing. And if you invest effectively, you will be able to take advantage of those nuances, and your portfolio will reflect the effectiveness of perception and of having a bigger global scope rather than a binary on-off approach, which is more of a rudimentary kind of childlike approach to looking at investing. And thank you very much.